Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and today we're actually working in an apartment in Myshuno. And I'm not gonna lie, when I decided to build this, I had no idea what I wanted to do, what theme I wanted, what the look was gonna be, like no idea. But you can see that I have two carpets actually picked out here. Just laying on the floor. I don't end up using the smaller one, but I do end up using the bigger one, and it ends up being the inspiration for like the whole entire apartment. And I ended up making this like really funky looking apartment with a bunch of platforms, and it kind of ends up being like a studio apartment, even though it technically doesn't need to be. And if you wanted to, if you download this off the gallery, you can like wall it off and do whatever you want to with it. And on that note, it is up on the Sims 4 gallery if you would like to download it under my ID spicensprinkles. And as usual, if you want to download it, just do whatever you want with it, just so that it fits your gameplay. Now, I will say, since it is an apartment, it had to be uploaded as a room. And usually I can just like delete out walls and then you can just put them back when you put it in your game. But with platforms, it also doesn't like platforms. It sees it as a separate room. So I had to take out the platforms, which basically means I had to raise or lower them so it's all one flat like floor height, if that makes sense. And I left you'll see it like in a little bit, I end up doing some interesting carpet things over by the bedroom space and all, and you can simply just like lower or raise the platforms as you see fit, and it looks totally fine if you don't end up doing that. But I just thought I'd warn you, if you download it, you'll have to put the platforms back in. But I ended up making these two little lowered spaces, one for the kitchen and one for like the living space. And I actually ended up using these really deep purple cabinets, which I don't know if I've really ever used before, because let's be honest, that purple I feel like is really hard to use, but it fits perfectly with the rug we picked out. Like, and I say we because I did do this over on my Twitch channel, at least the first half of it I did over on my Twitch channel, and the link is down below if you want to come hang out with us. And my friend was actually over that day and the two of us were working on it, so it was an us kind of build, at least for the first half of it. And she decided, yeah, that we wanted something funky. And so we just like went all in on the color. You can see I'm messing around a little bit with like, should we do orange? But then we decided maybe that's like a little bit too much color. So we ended up just going with white appliances, but I think it looks really cute here. And I am so happy with the way this turned out. And I will say, like, when I was building this, it was one of those weird days where I wasn't sure what I wanted to build. I was kind of like all over the place, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if you've had that kind of creative process, like no matter what you're doing, that it's just like you just feel like you have some sort of block. And that's what I felt like was happening actually that day on stream. This was actually the second build we started. You will hopefully see the other build that I'll probably talk about again, like I was doing it with my friend a little bit later on this week, but it was kind of all over the place, I'm not gonna lie. And fun fact, I'm hoping that what I put up on the gallery actually like has the rug in the right orientation. I think it does, because when I was taking screenshots, my sim set the living room on fire. So I lost the rug and like several things, so I had to replace it. So I think I oriented the rug properly, but if I didn't, you can swap it around or leave it as is if that doesn't bother you. But seriously, like that doesn't happen very often, but my sim just was like, you know what, I'm gonna light this fireplace and it's just gonna go up in flames. Like, it was a whole thing. I was like, really? Why? Like I was trying so hard to make this like really quick, like just, you know, take some quick screenshots, and then my sim was like, no, actually I'm gonna make this really difficult. But anyways, it's totally fine, but I just thought it was kind of funny. And I ended up putting like some mirrors behind the bed because I just thought it looked so cool, especially like reflecting all the other colors in the room. And you can see we went through a lot of different end tables trying to decide what we wanted in this space and what looked right, because I didn't necessarily want this to be like a maximalist in the sense of like having a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different patterns. I wanted it to look a little more cohesive, if that makes sense. And of course, all of it being based off of, you guessed it, the rug. This isn't the first time. If you've been around my channel, it is not uncommon. I like pick out a dresser or a rug or something, and I'm like, this is what the build's gonna be around. And honestly, I highly suggest that if you're not sure, or you're not sure about a color palette that you want for your build. Like, I find that super helpful, and especially like for items that like I've never used before. Like, I didn't even know that swatch existed, so it was kind of fun to actually be able to use that, because it's just not something I think I would have used otherwise if I hadn't have picked it out and said, I'm making a build using this rug, if that makes sense. And you can see we swapped around a lot of ideas too for this dining room space, and we ended up going with like a glass table. We do use a smaller one because I figured in this space, like, it just makes a whole lot more sense. And using those really cute, like, clear chairs that, again, I feel like it's one of the chairs that I always want to use, but I never get to because it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right, but I feel like it looks really cool in this space, and I'm just so happy with the way this turned out. And we didn't include all the footage of the curtains, but it took so long for us to pick out a curtain, I'm not going to lie. And you also may notice here that the coloration looks a little bit different. I was using my reshade during this half of the build, whereas I wasn't using the reshade on the first half, just because when I'm on stream I can't really use the reshade because it does weird stuff to my face cam. But anyways, so when I was doing the second half on my own, I could have the reshade on, and I just think it looks so pretty with the reshade. But anyways, just putting in this really nice desk area. I'm honestly not sure what this sim would do for work, but I wanted to be sure to have this really nice office space and a computer because I feel like it's just so essential for your sims. Like, it makes your life a whole lot easier if your sims can have a computer in your build. And then I end up just doing a little bit of storage here in the entranceway, and then just putting in this cabinetry. And I actually use some of those paintings that are like leaned against the wall, and they look so cute here. I love that little pop of color, and just a nice little bookcase there. And along with, ended up using the hanging plant as well in this space, and I think it ended up looking so cute. I really do love the way that entranceway came out, honestly. I don't know, I don't want to say it's my favorite part of the build, but it very well might be because I just thought it looked so adorable. And then just putting in another mirror, and then I end up putting in the ottoman from, I think it is Movie Hangout Stuff, I believe is where that one came from. And I got to use one of the really cool funky swatches that, again, I feel like I never get to use. And I used a lot of the pastel pop kit here in the living space as well, which I feel like it makes a lot of sense. There's so many like really cool, funky, like bright pieces in that kit. So I ended up using all of that here. And you could see for a second, I tried using one of the coffee tables that came with Growing Together. I have yet to use it. It's honestly like kind of been a struggle. Who knows? Maybe that's the next item I should use to like build something with. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't know what I want to build, I should just get that out and decide, you know what? I'm going to use this. I'm going to make it work because I do want to use it, but I just feel like it never fits quite right. And then ended up using this really colorful fireplace here, and then I end up putting like that stack of games that we got with Growing Together here on the table, along with like a remote, because I just always feel like that's really realistic to have like a remote on the table. And if you are curious, that is out of debug, so if you are looking for it and want to add that to your own builds, that is where to find it. And I pretty much always have debug on. Like, almost always use something from debug. But you won't have any issues like downloading it or anything like that. And also, as a reminder, I feel like I haven't said it lately, but if you do download my builds, always have move objects on, because I always use move objects. Like, if you can't tell, I have stuff like in other things on top of the things you need to have move objects on. Otherwise, I feel like the whole build will like blow up. I've never actually tried it, like downloading one of my own builds without it, but I feel like it just wouldn't work out very well, if that makes sense. And I end up using that really cool bowling clock. So that's the one that came with, I think it's a stuff pack, the bowling stuff pack, which again, I've really not used anything out of it, but I felt like worked really well here. And then we actually end up having a really spacious bathroom along with some laundry here over in the corner. I figured that would be the perfect thing over there. And I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself, so I apologize. I feel like I've tripped over my words a couple of times. But I feel like since I didn't post anything last week, I'm just so excited to do a voiceover again and be able to talk with all of you. And also, before I forget, let me know if there's stuff that you want to see on the channel, whether it's shorts or speed builds, that kind of thing. I would love to hear from you, and do some things that you want in your game. And because I feel like I'm always doing things that I want to do, which is great, right? But if there's things that you all want to see, please definitely let me know. So then adding just a little bit of clutter here inside this bathroom. I really honestly like the way this bathroom came out, and I did use the Growing Together bathtub because I couldn't help myself, because I love that bathtub so much. I don't even know if I'll ever use another bathtub again, unless I'm doing like a pack specific build where I can't use that one, because that one is just so pretty. But let me know like if you have that pack, are you using that as much as I am, because like I use it all of the time. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye everybody. When you're down and you stare out your window.